and all the women we've met, and ours is more of a lighting background. Electrical and lighting come together a little bit, but lighting has its own thing going too. And I know the women in the lighting business are fantastic business people. They're strong
Phenomenal.
personalities.
Super smart.
Yes.
Super smart, super driven. What I've noticed with most of the women that I've worked with in the industry since I've joined NAED, which I just joined NAED in October, and I have the privilege of leading our committee for the women in industry. So um, what I've noticed is that they are so driven and so smart about the businesses that they're involved in. And their positions range from HR to C-suite level. Some are in marketing, some are in, just management, operations management, and their thinking, the way that they think, the way that they're driven, and they are definitely more in touch with the climate and the feel of each company, which I think maybe sometimes may have been overlooked in the past.
Yeah, it's interesting that I hate to generalize about men and women, like to speak like that. You kind of, you can get into stereotyping a little bit, when you start speaking like that. But I feel like women bring a different element to the business world.
They do.
And when they're, and
we do.
Yeah, we exactly. And when you speak to women in the industry and you say, what's it like to be a woman in the lighting business or in the electrical industry, a lot of them haven't really even thought about it before. When you ask them that question, they sit back. I mean, when we interviewed Brenda Puckett, oh man, the name escapes me. The lady that was the marketing director for Philips. I can't remember her name off the top of my head. Oh, sorry. I'm gonna remember you soon. But anyway, they never had. A lot of them reflect on it for a second. They don't think about it, and I think it's important for them to think about it a little bit.
A little bit.
Not too much. Like have a meeting maybe and see. But is there a problem in this industry with that, or?
I wouldn't call it a problem, but with any industry, I think diversity and inclusion should be the forefront of every industry. So there should be representation from all age brackets. There should be representation from diverse backgrounds. All of that comes together to make a wonderful recipe of success. That way it's not narrow thinking. People bring, especially different age brackets. One of the key things that we've noticed in the industry is that, many of our executives are kind of on the retirement track. And have we really focused on what comes next? Have we prepared the team to take control up under us?
I read an article that said the average C-suite executive is 10 years older than someone in that position in the 1990s. So the C-suite is aging, and particularly in the electrical field, I think it's worse maybe than some other areas. So are we grooming generation?
Correct.
The other thing too is like when you talk about diversity, a lot of people feel awkward about it. I think when you're not including people, it's a disability for you. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not their problem. It's actually your problem.
It's our problem. It's something we all need to consider. I think we've been conditioned to, when we say diversity and inclusion, people usually think it's a skin tone conversation, and it's not a skin tone conversation. Diversity and inclusion means, I like to use this one analogy. It's one thing to invite me to the party. That's great. I'm here. I'm at the party, and it's awesome. But inclusion is inviting me to the dance floor, leading me to the dance floor, and dancing with me. So now, not only am I present,
you want to dance?
But
Let's do it.
And mind you, I can't dance. Let it be known that I
Come
can't
on.
dance. I'm not a great dancer.
It's just a metaphor, okay, folks?
I really can't dance. I have rhythm, but I can't dance. I can't bring it together. It's like I'm a robot. That's me.
I think you're the robot. I could do the robot with you. So these events, though, you're putting them together. It's an interesting thing to see the personality type of the event manager. That's a personality type. You understand what I mean? It's like conscientious, clipboard. You know what I mean? In hand, tap, 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 tap. Let's get this thing done.
Well, in all fairness, I have a team. It's not me. I have a senior conference manager, a senior planner,
Mm,
and an event coordinator, and it's not a one woman show
sure.
by any stretch. We're a very strong team, and they do the heavy lifting.
Okay.
Mhm.
I don't think
They just show up with me for signature. They're like, "Can we pay for this?"
the
So
amount of people that are involved in putting these kind of events together is really incredible, actually.
it is.
Yeah.
It
Oh,
is. It's the details. The devil is in the details.
Sure is.
All of the logistics. Something as simple as making sure that we've counted the cables and that everything plugs in.
Sure.
So
Yeah, yeah.
having someone who pays attention, who's the bean counter.
Yeah.
Someone who has strategic vision. Which is actually more of my role. Is more of the strategic vision of our conferences and meetings and events, and making sure that we're on trend,
Mhm.
staying sorry, my ears aren't holding up my headset very
That's
well.
Sometimes
So,
a lot. So I don't have any hair. Okay, just so the people watching, I don't have any hair to get messed up. Neither does Greg.
so it's all vanity because I
Keep it
didn't want
pretty
to
easy.
smush down my hair. So it's
It's
all
it's a
vanity.
thing. It's a
Yeah.
Yeah.
thing. But I don't have to worry about that. So
But, but yeah, so I'm really focused on the strategic vision and
Mhm.
Sure.
making sure that we're staying on trend and that our educational content is up to par,
Sure.
that people are getting what they need from the conferences. This is an education environment. We're here to teach.
Mhm.
We're here to absorb and learn from one another with our peers.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So your regionals, do you get the most attendance at the national, I assume, and then the regionals are kind of offshoots of the national, or are they all?
That's a great question. So our attendance, I think our Western conference, our Western region conference, is actually the most attendance
Hmm.
for the regionals.
Mm.
They have the largest
Yeah.
turnout. The right word is turnout.
Turnout.
That works for us,
Mhm.
yeah.
Well, you're
Yeah, that's
live.
the right
You're
word.
live. You can't take it
Yeah.
back.
Yeah, we're gonna say turnout.
Turn
Turnout.
out now.
And so, and the national has more of our C-suite executives and
Mm.
um
So it's different
and so
flavor.
slightly different flavor.
Mm.
And so, we do cater more to our C-suite executives for the national, and the regions. I would really put them in the category of our working conferences.
Yeah.
That's where our
Sales managers.
exactly,
Yeah, yeah.
exactly. Our manufacturers are meeting with our distributors and
Mm.
getting that work done. It's very important. Those booth sessions and that peer time.
I think that's a good way to do it. It's hard to
Mhm.
combine those two. Not that one's
Mhm.
better than the other. It's just that
Mhm.
it's kind of two different
Yeah.
mindsets, and
Yeah.
you got to tailor it two different ways.
Yep.
So you could do
Absolutely.
tracks and try to combine it, or this seems like
Mhm.
a good way.
Yeah, it's a win-win. We definitely add in that education component
Mm.
because a lot of our members, are smaller companies. They may not have, the full marketing
Sure.
staff, which is why we have the Adventure Conference coming
Mm.
up, where we talk about marketing principles and tactics and trend.
Sure.
So we want to make sure that all of our formats, all of our meetings and conferences, that it's an experience,
Mhm.
that they're able to take away something,
Mm.
learn something more that they didn't know before.
Mm.
We want to be that resource. We want to be, and that's who we are as the association. We want to be that one-stop resource for our members.
It's interesting because you guys have the scale,
Hmm.
to do that for your
Hmm.
members. You have the
Mhm.
scale. It takes a certain amount of scale to offer
Mhm.
that scope in a
Right.
sense, right?
Right.
It's like, well, what, this one's more about this, and this.
Hmm.
But I think that what it comes down to, in the age of digital live streaming, what we're doing right now, I think it's still important to press hands together, to
Absolutely.
get together, to meet the
Absolutely.
people, to
Hmm.
look each other in the
Hmm.
eyes, to sit down. Like, I mean, you can do all the online education you want. Nothing
Hmm.
beats sitting in a classroom with a speaker
Absolutely.
What happened? We get popped out?
I think we'll just wrap it up and then close it out there. Good, Scott? Yeah, that technical difficulties. If you stuck with us through that, that was about 5 minutes. The first time that's happened, we're gonna log off here, folks. But you know what? Forget about the big three, Greg. That's right. You need a keystone. That's what you need. You gotta stand on the keystone with Keystone Technologies. Go to KEYSTONETH.com, man. Light ladies, the retrofit kings, baby. Check them out. Thanks for coming on.
Absolutely.
Had a lot of fun. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Dance later. Yeah, we're gonna get you.
I'm
Thanks for
late
listening,
Genesis.
folks. We're gonna do the computer. All right, cool. Thanks, Scott. Back in Toronto. We'll get you guys going. We'll straighten that camera out. We'll figure out these tech issues. Back in about 20, 30 minutes. Thanks for listening, guys. All right. Scott, talk to you, man.